Yeah, Pro Fan Sports Podcast. Let's get it. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam. Sean on the mic, very flat too. Keep you updated, that's what we do. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, man, it's the biggest week in the NFL so far this year,
Right.
Biggest week of the off season.
Yes, of the off season, outside of, training camps, rookie mini camps, outside of that, this is like the biggest thing that happens, and it's the NFL draft. And I think we had a really good and interesting draft this year. What y'all think?
Well, the draft itself, where it was located, it was in Cleveland. I thought it was a nice setup outside. I was watching and I was like, yo, how much money does that cost? Like, that's like millions and millions of dollars to set that up. Because it was
that production.
Yeah, it was a really
man. It is.
The only thing I thought it was corny that they had the commissioner's chair from last year.
Yeah, with the fans
from his basement last year. Right.
I didn't.
That was whack.
I don't know
who wants to sit on your chair, man.
Yeah, for what? I don't care.
For what?
That part was corny, but besides that, I thought it was cool.
That thing looked beat up, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure. For real, you couldn't get you a new chair, bro. With all the money you make, you couldn't get you a better looking chair than that. For real.
Yeah, but it was cool. I'm always excited for the draft. I always love to watch at least the first round, and that was exciting. And specifically for Patriots fan, I think this is one of the most important draft we've seen in a long, long time since maybe they drafted Drew Bledsoe.
The most consequential draft
we're
gonna have
since they drafted Drew Bledsoe. So
right.
It was really exciting for me, actually.
Yeah, no, I like this, year's draft. It was pretty interesting, particularly that first round. They had, some exciting moments and picks, in the draft with, the surprise at number 3. And then, the Bears trading up to get a quarterback in Justin Fields. That was definitely, surprising. They moved all the way up from 20 to 11 in order to do that. And then, and the different, things that happened, and also just seeing the moments with, the players and their families, and, the players congratulating each other that played, with each other in college, was, pretty cool. Also seeing, the fans back there.
That was pretty cool
as well. And it kind of reminded me of when I actually went to the NFL draft in 2018, and when it was in Dallas, Texas at Cowboys Stadium, they had like a similar setup where they had like an outside setup and also an inside setup too.
Let me ask you
as well.
Let me ask you a question. How much did it cost to attend the draft?
So it was actually free. You had to like get a pass. You had to, like ahead of time, you had to, go on,
sign up online or something.
Yeah, sign up online on like the NFL website, and
but
and
it's not guaranteed.
Right, exactly. It's like a first come, first serve thing. Right. Like, and there's a standing like room, and believe me, that line is long. Like, we had to wait for a while. Luckily, we got there, with the time that we did, because if we didn't, we wouldn't be able to, get into the draft. So, I'm, fortunate that I was able to get that experience. But it's a great atmosphere and great environment to be in if you're a big football fan.
Was that first round?
Yeah. So when I went, yes, I just went for the first round.
Who did the Patriots draft that year?
So it's funny because they actually had 2 draft picks that year. They had gotten Sony Michel and Isaiah
And
Wynn.
Isaiah
That was
Wynn.
Oh,
right,
cool.
right. That was the year when we, lost to Philly, and then in the Super Bowl
Got it.
and stuff. So yeah, that was a pretty cool moment and stuff. But no, definitely the draft was awesome and was fun to watch. I actually enjoyed that, and it wasn't boring like most drafts are. So I'm glad that that the draft was back, and and there was much more energy with this
Yeah.
year's draft.
I mean, we were on the live, close to the Patriots pick. So a lot of people actually tuned in on that and watched it and was asking crazy questions on there. We had to shut some guys down too. So ProFans_sports on Instagram, get that. But for me, it definitely was a different feel. I like the fact that they had, the in-person and the virtual portion of it, guys that are at home with their families and the reactions and stuff. I really love them bringing in like family members and people that were close to the draft picks that talked a little bit about the draft picks, kind of like Devonta Smith, like his barber came on and spoke about how proud he was because he's actually the one that like trained him and took him to the camps and all that stuff. So that was like a little added dimension that I really liked there. It was just an exciting draft, especially with all the quarterbacks that were in the first round. We haven't seen that, in a really long time. And it was just very, very exciting, man. It was a good production, like Vlad was saying. That thing cost a lot of money, man. And
sure does.
only thing was I was really annoyed with all the teams taking, 8 minutes to actually call out the damn picks.
They took longer than that, John. It was even longer than that. It was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was annoyed by that.
Yo, listen.
Yes.
Pick number 1. Who's the pick? We've known the pick for like a year now.
I knew that was gonna happen. It happens every year. You're gonna
every single year, bro.
But I think it's a play. You're gonna wait till I don't know, maybe like there's a minute and a half left, just in case a team calls you and tells you something crazy.
Yeah, but I don't think the Jaguars were going to trade.
It's not that you don't.
You should already know what's going to be. Like, that's too late for that.
No, that's not what I said, though. I didn't say you don't know who you're picking. You're just waiting to see if any team is going to just blow you out of the water. You just have to.
Only thing I could imagine is if the Packers called, Jacksonville.
Exactly, and they say,
like, yo, we'll give you Aaron Rodgers right now. You know what I mean? And,
you
2 first-round picks if you give us...
you change your mind, right? If that happens, you change your mind.
That's the only scenario I could ever see.
And that's why they wait. They wait just in case a team is gonna do something crazy.
Yeah, but that really ever happens, though. That's very rare and seldom for that to happen.
I agree, but I think it's a rule. You just like, no, I know we know what we're picking. I know we know what we're doing, but let's just wait. We have the time. Let's not hurry.
Bro,
I didn't mind. I knew I've watched other NFL drafts before, and I knew that was gonna happen. So I had something else in the background while I was watching the draft as well. So
plus, it's like, yo, dudes are getting old, man. It's getting late. I'm trying to get to bed. Like, come on.
Yeah, I definitely fell asleep after the Patriots pick. I'm not lying. I'm not lying.
We were on the live, bro.
I was good the whole way. I was straight. I didn't sleep, or feel sleepy or tired at all. I was straight. Listen, I was up and wide awake the whole time.
I was in sleep.
Speak for yourselves on that.
I was in sleep, but the draft started at 8 o'clock. There's no reason the draft should be ending at midnight or after midnight. That's ridiculous.
Well, that's how long it's televised for, John.
No, I know.
Blocked off that time.
It's crazy. And
like, they want to use up every single minute of that time to do draft coverage.
And to get that money. That's what it
absolutely
is.
To get to the bags. Yep, definitely.
For sure. But let's talk about some of the draft picks though. I mean, so the draft went like this. The first few picks, Jacksonville Jaguars, of course, picked Trevor Lawrence, QB out of Clemson. The New York Jets picked Zach Wilson. a QB out of BYU, San Francisco, which was I think everybody's surprised, right? Because they've been talking about Mac Jones for the last like 2 months, it feels like, and they went out and they picked up Trey Lance from Nebraska State University. Is that where he's from? NDSU.
No, I think it's North Dakota. I think he went to the same school as Carson Wentz.
It's the abbreviation there, so I'm like, is that Nebraska? Wait,
yeah, no, that's North
that
Dakota.
Should be NB. Yeah. Stupid. Atlanta Falcons
I know.
chose Kyle Pitts out of Florida. I thought that was a really good pick. But let's go back to the Trey Lance one. All right, this thing's been beat up in our heads that they're gonna pick Mac Jones, right? Like, what was your reaction?
So, John? I don't think they revealed that. I don't agree with that.
No. They've been projecting Mac Jones to go number 3. So we were all surprised because they picked Trey Lance, because we all thought it was gonna be like Mac Jones or Justin Fields.
But it wasn't a given though. It
wasn't. What I'm saying is, every outlet was like projecting Mac Jones to go number 3. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. And when they picked Trey Lance, like, what was your reaction? And how'd you feel about it?
I wasn't too surprised. I mean, to me, I don't pay too much attention to the mock drafts. I usually just know who's gonna go first, second, maybe, and who's gonna go top 10. But I just knew it's the draft. To me, it's a crapshoot. You know what I mean? So there's very few quarterbacks that are sure. You know what I mean? So I think every team, if you need a quarterback and you have the opportunity to grab a quarterback, you're gonna try to grab one. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If we go back to the Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota draft, both of those guys are not starting in the league anymore. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like your guys are going to be hyped up. Teams are going to feel hopeful. They're going to pick a quarterback. So to me, I was like, okay, that's what they liked. I wasn't even like I wasn't aware that they wanted to pick Mac Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit surprised by the pick, but not too surprised, because like the more that I thought about it, the more that I was thinking that they were actually going to go with Trey Lance than Mac Jones, because they traded all the way from 12 until 3, and I think when you make that move, you want to, get a guy that you're, 100% sure about, and that you really, and that's someone that you really want. And I think that they wanted, sure? I think they've always really been interested more in Trey Lance than.
Are they 100% sure though?
Because yes, I was listening to John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan speak, and the way they were speaking about Trey Lance, when they drafted him, they were, speaking as if that was their guy the whole time, as if that was the one that they wanted to draft and wanted to get, pretty much ever since they saw him at his pro day and, and connected, with him, on the Zoom calls and stuff. So I think that's, it was secretly hidden, because those were the only 2 guys that knew that, the 49ers were going to draft, Trey Lance. But I think in the end, the 49ers got, moved up to get their guy. And, and when you trade up from 12 to 3, you got to know who you're picking and have an idea of, the person that you want. You got to be pretty sure, who, you're moving up to get. You don't just make that move just to make it. You got to, know what you're doing and know who you're picking, with that pick. And I think the 49ers, that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, man. I definitely was surprised, because I do pay attention to the mock drafts, and I do pay attention to what the coaches and what they're saying in their press conferences. And, for me, it looked like, the San Francisco 49ers were going to pick Mac Jones at number 3, because of everything that was going around with Jimmy Garoppolo, how what's his name?
Kyle
Shanahan. How unsure he was during the press conferences. They asked that guy, you know, is Garoppolo gonna be the starter, you know, starting the season? And he's like, you know, people could die on Sunday. I don't know what.
Yeah,
I don't
no
like.
one's guaranteed to be here on
Like,
Sunday, right?
Wait, did you just say Garoppolo could die on Sunday? Like you can't predict that? Like that shit was
He
funny
said
to me.
we're not predicted to be here until Sunday, right.
Right.
That was an absurd answer. That was ridiculous.
That was really weird. And you know, every analyst in the draft was talking about how Mac Jones was the most pro-ready quarterback right now. How he had the smarts. How, you know, if you look at all the quarterbacks that Kyle Shanahan has had in his systems, they're pretty much like, you know, Mac Jones. You know, so that I feel like that's why the draft analysts, what's his name, Mel Kiper, Mike Mayock, and all that
Todd
had
McShay,
him.
all
Todd
those
McShay,
guys.
they had him at like number 3, even though they were making arguments that Justin Fields was like the second best quarterback. They all made arguments why Mac Jones would be picked at number 3. So it was pretty convincing. So I definitely was like anxious for number 3. I'm like, yo, let's see if they mess this shit up, yo. You know, because I'm like, dude, are you really gonna pick Mac Jones right here? That's crazy to me. And I mean, when they picked Trey Lance, I thought he was like the third likeliest. I thought it was gonna be between Mac Jones or Justin Fields, and it ended up being Trey Lance. So I was like, holy shit. And the draft got exciting after that.
Yeah, that's when it started. It
really got exciting after that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people just started sliding down the board, and it was kind of like a race, you know, because we're in New England. We're looking at pick 15, and we still got 2 top 5 QBs on the board, you know. So you're like, yo, we could really get like Justin Fields, you know what I'm saying? And then things happened in the draft, but it definitely got exciting after that, and I was excited. So that was from number 3. Trey Lance goes to 49ers, and then Falcons picked Kyle Pitts, another team I thought could have picked a quarterback, but I thought they did the right thing by bringing in Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. That pick taking that Kyle Pitts at 4 with the Falcons. Yeah,
Why not?
I didn't like that. I just thought they had bigger and more important needs on their roster than tight end. Like, yeah, Kyle Pitts is a great player, and you know is gonna definitely help them and contribute. But I think there's much more important, you know,
you thought they should have went cornerback, huh?
4th pick.
You thought they should have went cornerback, huh?
Either defense or, you know, or even get a quarterback, or even, you know what I'm saying, shore up that offensive line, since we're having issues with the offensive line. Like, there's multiple directions they could have gone that then at tight end, and taking a tight end at 4, I feel like is just too high, particularly when you have a weak roster like the Falcons do. It's not a very good team, and there's a lot of things that, you know, they should have done that could have helped their team more than get a tight end, even though Kyle Pitts will help them. But I just don't really know how much it'll be.
I agree with Barry. That's the first pick that actually surprised me. When I heard Kyle Pitts tight end, I was like, tight end number 4?
Right.
That's like, if I'm picking a tight end number 4, you better be Rob Gronkowski too. Like, you better be, you know,
for real.
Like, you better be like, I remember the last time I remember a team picked a tight end was Detroit drafting Eric Ebua. They drafted him 10th pick, I believe, something like that. And we all know how Eric Ebua turned out. And he was supposed to be this great tight end. He was going to change the game. And we don't even know what team Eric Ebua plays on now. He plays for the Green Bay Packers or something.
Oh, he's
on the Steelers now.
Yeah, he was with the Colts.
That's like his fifth team or something. Like, this dude, he can even catch. Yep. I'm not saying that's what Kyle Pitts is going to turn out. I'm just saying, like, drafting a tight end that high, like, you better change my organization. You better change the way we do things.
Change the culture,
And also, we've seen what the Falcons need. It's defense. They were winning. Exactly. They were winning against the Bucs 21-0. this during the last season, and they lost that game 30-28 or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and tied in. Are you kidding me? The Falcons will suck forever. Like
the Falcons always be the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, they had one chance of winning
the
Super Bowl.
They have a good offense, and then that's about it.
They had a chance of winning a Super Bowl. They fucked it up, and I don't think they'll ever
recover from that. For real, straight up.
Okay.
That was like my most surprising pick. Seriously, like I was.
No, me too. That's one of the.
I was like, what?
Few picks I didn't like in this draft.
I know Kyle Pitts is regarded as one of the top
generational talent. They say.
Yeah, no, I like the player. I just don't like the pick. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like I know, with all due respect to Kyle Pitts, he can ball. I'm not saying he can't ball.
Sure.
Yeah.
He can definitely ball, man. So that was the number 4 pick for Atlanta. And then Cincinnati went Jamar Chase, which I thought was surprising as well. Because Joe Burrow got folded up last year. So I'm like, y'all gotta
offensive tackle.
Fix the line, bro.
For real, seriously.
I'm like, what? Why would you do that?
Block.
I mean, I get why they did that because that's Joe Burrow's former teammates. But your receivers are not terrible. You know what I'm saying?
If I'm putting a team together, offensive line and defensive line, I'm drafting those all the time in the first round. You know what I mean? Those are for sure talents. Like offensive lines, Aflazo probably have the highest success rate as first rounders. First rounders. Like you draft an offensive line in the first round, unless you get injured or something, like
most of the time they work out.
He's gonna ball for you, and those are important part of my team. So yeah, I mean, it's Cincinnati.
right. That's what they do. Yeah.
So I wasn't too surprised, but maybe it'll work for them.
I hope so.
I'd like the pick, but you're right. Definitely, they should have gone offensive line. I will agree with that.
For sure,
because you're right. That can't. What happened to Joe Burrow last year? That can't happen again. Like they need to protect the franchise and find some dudes on the offensive line that can actually keep this man healthy.
I mean, and then so that was the number 5th pick, Jamar Chase. Who should be a stud in the league. If they can keep Joe Burrow up and clean, because they need to do that. And then for the last 4 picks, Miami picked Jalen Waddle from Alabama. Bring Tua back with his old receiver. And then Detroit went in there and did really good things with Penei Sewell, who was supposed to be the top offensive tackle out of Oregon. That was good. Carolina, who I thought were going to pick a quarterback, picked cornerback J.C. Horn, who's also nasty.
He's nice.
I thought that was the right pick for them.
No, for sure. They definitely need some players in the secondary that can make plays for sure.
Right.
So I like that pick, and I like the Lions pick too. I was surprised they made a good draft pick for once. Like they
got new leadership right now.
Damn time.
Yeah, that was a good pick.
Yeah, for sure.
Denver went cornerback Patrick Surtain, which was good as well. The second Patrick Surtain, the second, and then finally to round out the top 10, the Heisman Trophy winner Devonta Smith went to the Eagles. So they got like their Deshaun Jackson 2.0 or something like that.
Well, that was one of the.
Go ahead, Vlad.
That was one of the highlights of the draft for me. The Eagles screwing over the Giants.
The Cowboys
they screw over the Giants.
The Giants because they moved up ahead of the Giants.
The Giants wanted to pick that guy, and they moved ahead. They dealt with somebody in their conference, which is the Cowboys, to fucked over the Giants. I think the Eagles have something against the Giants. I think the owner. I think the owner has something against the Giants, and I think that's why they lost that last game last year. When they benched Jalen Hurts. I think that's why they fucked them over in the draft a couple of days ago. I thought that was crazy. I like when I heard the Giants wanted to pick that player, but the Eagles jumped over them to pick that player. I was like, damn. petty on another level.
I love it.
I'm not surprised because that's typical NFC least right there, to say the least. That's what they do in that
but you
division. They always do petty stuff and always do things to stab each other in the back and to get revenge and make the other one look bad. So I wasn't surprised.
But you wouldn't think they would do it with like another NFC East player team. You know what I mean? You thought they would do it with like another team in the conference. Like they treated with the Cowboys too fucked over somebody else in the conference.
Right. No, I see what you're saying. No, I hear that.
Yeah.
Just something else that I was a bit surprised with, with those top 10 picks was I thought that Justin Fields was going to go in the top 10 once he got past the Denver Broncos at 9. I thought the Broncos were probably going to take him and pick him up since they were still saying that, they were still looking at quarterbacks, even though they made a trade for a veteran quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater that week. Once he went to 9, I'm like, somebody's going to trade up to get him and to pick him up. I just had that gut feeling, and that's exactly what had happened. So, I was hoping, he would come here to us to the Pats, but, unfortunately that didn't happen. And, he's in Chicago now. So, I mean, that's good for the Bears that they were able to get him. But I still have questions as far as whether they'll do right by him and, actually be able to, develop him and, into a good quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious about the Justin Fields situation, with Matt Nagy over there, and how they did Mitch Trubisky last year. And, the way they've been handling things, they told Andy Dalton he'd be the number one, and then boom. Yeah.
Does it not make you laugh every time you hear that?
We were just
that they
joking.
Really said that to Andy Dalton, he'll be the QB1 this year?
Yeah, we were just joking, Andy. We had to say this for the draft, you know what I'm saying? So, I hope they're ready to actually develop him,
right.
And make sure that he's actually a successful pro, because it looks like, they were throwing Mitch Trubisky under the bus all year, man.
Absolutely, they set him up for failure. I can't stress that
enough, man. They set that boy up for failure, and he actually, he rose above it and actually did well, and they still released him, or
I don't know if he did well.
I mean,
he led them to the playoffs, man. Right. They got into the postseason.
Here's what happened: Trubisky led them to 2-0 start. They benched him after 2-0 start and put Nick Foles in there. Nick Folk, right? What's
Nick Foles?
Nick Foles, right?
Yeah.
They put him in there. All right. They start doing bad. He gets injured like usual. They bring Mitch Trubisky back in there. He turns the season around and takes them to the playoffs. So
I just think I think it's the back on the defense. I don't think it's on the back of Trubisky though.
No, if you look at the games, man, he was actually doing work, man. Because I had him on a fantasy.
He was doing his thing. Absolutely.
At the end there, he was putting up numbers at the end there, and I'm like, he's actually responding, And I feel like there's a lot you could work with there because he's a big kid. He got a strong arm. Kind of like Josh Allen. You know what I mean? Josh Allen was pretty much the same thing, and then he went to the Bills in a place that actually developed him and helped him out, and he's an MVP caliber player now. I feel like
did they release him or did they trade him?
No, he was a free agent.
He was a free agent. They decided not to
bring him back. Yeah, they didn't re-sign him. They didn't make any offers.
And that's my point. And I made that point before on the pod. Somebody that's a free agent that's deciding to sign as a backup on a team that he knows he's going to be a backup on, I can't have that guy as my quarterback. There's way too many teams out there that needed a starting quarterback. And if you sign with a team that you know you're going to be a backup, that means you're willing to be a backup. I just can't have you as my starting quarterback.
And I think that's the issue because they screwed up his reputation so bad over there, with the shit that was coming out. And the way they treated him, You know what I'm
but
saying? And I don't think he had any other opportunities to go
He
somewhere
didn't
else
have
and
any
be a
other offers
starter.
from any other
I'm
teams
sure
because of that.
if a team is giving if a team is giving
Mitch
opportunities,
Trubisky.
if a team needs a quarterback and that guy's out there, you're gonna see what he's like, and he's going to somewhere where he has no chance of starting at all.
I think
Like, when is he gonna start over there?
I think the life of a quarterback is sophisticated.
But
You know
he's
what I'm
never gonna
saying?
start. Like,
'Cause-
even like, I'm sure there's a team out there where, like, if somebody sucked, I might start. Like, you go to the Bills, where there's no chance for you to start. Like, the only way you start is Josh Allen get injured.
I think I said this on the channel before. I think that he did something that was good for him in his career, where he's gonna go somewhere and actually be able to learn from people that want to actually nurture shit. You know what I mean?
You made
And
that point before.
it's a really bad reputation when the team that drafted you badmouths you and doesn't,
Right.
you know what I mean, decide to do good by you. You know what I'm saying? Like, the
Yep.
shit that they did to him, I don't see the Patriots doing that to Jarrett Stidham. And Jarrett Stidham sucks. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Right,
like,
he's garbage.
but you heard Robert Kraft, like, I don't think Jarrett Stidham got a fair shot, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Right,
And
he
we're all
defended
like,
him, exactly.
you know, like, and you have a first round quarterback you just picked, like, what, 4 years ago? And you made the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I just think when you do that, like, you mess up a quarterback's reputation, other teams are, like, kind of shy away from bringing you in as the starter. You know what I mean? And you have to do something to reset. It's kind of like Jameis Winston. You know what I mean? That he had to go to, like, Drew Brees to figure out, like, find out how things are working.
Position of
you know what I
quarterback.
mean?
Right,
Go
right.
somewhere that's gonna nurture you and actually teach you something and have your back type of stuff. And I don't think the Bears had Mr. Trubisky's back at all. And I hope they don't do that to Justin Fields, because, like, he's not coming in like the most polished quarterback. So you have to actually teach him and nurture what's happening. You know, what happens if he starts 0-3 for the Bears? You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna start bad mouthing him then. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Goes in for Andy Dalton, he doesn't, like, light it up, then it's gonna be a problem, because, you know, same thing's gonna start happening. So I hope,
right, John, and that's why they better get this Justin Fields pick right.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they don't, not only should Matt Nagy be gone and out of Chicago, but that GM Ryan Pace has to go too and should be fired as well. They're both, this year, their jobs are on the line.
Listen.
So they better get this Justin Fields right and make sure that they get this guy ready to play and ready to make that franchise successful and turn that around. Because Chicago's been known for a place where even Jim McMahon said that quarterback who won a Super Bowl with the Chicago Bears, that quarterbacks go there to die. That's the funeral for quarterbacks right there. That,
listen,
you know, anytime a quarterback goes there, they're not successful and they become garbage and a bum. So they better get their act together and make sure that they get this guy ready to play, because they should not get another NFL job and be out the door if they do the same thing with Mitch Trubisky than they just did with Justin Fields.
What you just said right there is correct. You know, with Matt Nagy getting fired out of there. If they don't make the playoffs last year, that dude's fired. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? So basically,
Absolutely.
Mitch Trubisky saved your ass, saved your job, and now he gets to sign somewhere else as a backup. And then you get to go in and
Keep
pick
your
somebody
job
else.
for
You know what I
another
mean?
year.
Like,
Right.
it makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
I don't think the organization was in love with him. So if the organization is not in love with Mr. Trubisky, they're gonna keep the coach. But I agree. I think if Justin Fields doesn't turn out great and they don't give him the fair chance, I do think those guys should be fired. But yeah, I mean, Chicago hasn't had a franchise quarterback almost ever. Like, they've never really had like a franchise quarterback, somebody that's like there for a long time, that's winning multiple games, multiple seasons. It's just they've never had that. So I do hope that they get this one right in Fields.
For sure, absolutely.
For sure, man.
They need to, because that organization and their future is depending on it, for sure.
I mean, I'm glad he's getting to go somewhere we can actually start year one. You know what I mean? And learn.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's there.
You don't think the Red Rooster is gonna get him out of there?
Oh man, that's a good one, Vlad. That's a good one. Oh man, you got jokes, man.
You mean the Red Rocket?
The Red Rooster,
the Red
Rocket.
Right, like
Yo,
Rooster. Like,
I'm sitting here like, who's a Red Rooster?
Like what? Like why would they nickname a quarterback a Rooster?
Nah, he's just being funny. Okay, all right. I catch on now. That's hilarious.
Oh man, shoot, Vlad came back with jokes today.
With that being said, I feel like a lot of teams felt like they actually got away from the first round with a guy that they actually wanted and liked. There was some trades, some really good stuff happened. But in your all opinion, give me like one winner and one loser in this draft.
It's hard to say just because the draft is so volatile and so many things can happen. But definitely my loser is gonna be the Atlanta Falcons with that pick. I'm not saying he's not gonna be a great player. He might be a generational player, just like Julio Jones is.
Mm-hmm.
But you need somebody like that. Guy alone is not gonna bring you to where you need to be. There's so much more that needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I'm just not.
Would you have packaged that number 4 pick, to get like maybe 2 more picks in the first round?
Maybe shit. Like
they could have done that.
Yeah,
they could have done that.
Right. That would actually have been a good move.
Unless there's a for sure offensive line player that I wanted to take or a defensive line player that I wanted to take for sure. If I wasn't sure, then I would definitely have packaged that pick and be like, yeah, you know what? Somebody else that's already established that needs a good tight end can pick that up. You know what I mean? I don't need a good tight end right now, so I'm just gonna chill and not pick that up. You know what I mean? So that's what I would have done. So my loser is Atlanta Falcons. My winner is my winner is it's hard to say, but I think I'm gonna pick San Francisco. I think they got a quarterback, and they traded so high for him, and they got a quarterback, and they better make sure that it works. You know what I mean? So it's like if you drafted so high to get a quarterback and bring somebody in, it better be the guy that's really gonna take your franchise forward. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm gonna go with that same boat. I'm gonna start with my loser and then go on to my winner of the draft. So the loser for this draft that I had would be the Green Bay Packers. And that's because the exact I'm glad y'all like that one too. Yes. Oh yeah, I'm about to go in right now and do my thing. So the reason why I have the Green Bay Packers is the loser is because yet again they draft a defensive player for the 9th time out of the last 10 drafts. The only time they took an offensive player in the draft was last year when they drafted Jordan Love to be the so-called successor and replacement to Aaron Rodgers. They have not drafted and gotten any sort of talent and weapons and playmakers for Aaron Rodgers to work with in the first round for the last 10 years. And it's getting ridiculous that the way that they're treating this man, we're going to get to him later. I'm not going to say too much about it. That they keep drafting defensive players, and these guys turn out to be in bust, and they're not even good. They're not even worthy of the first, round pick, and don't end up contributing, making an impact that a first round, player should make. So I don't really know what's going on with that organization, and why they're not getting, more offensive talent and, and weapons to
You know
be
what
able
it
to
is?
surround their quarterback.
You know what it is?
Yeah, and what's that, John?
They don't have a team owner.
That's right, because the fans own them.
The
Right, right,
fans own the team.
Yeah, but
If they
that's
don't,
not
right.
why.
That's the problem.
no,
That's not
if
why
you
they
have an
sunned
It's
him.
owner,
one of the problems. It's
it's one of
of.
them. Because if you
Let
have an
me.
owner, they have a voice to tell you this is the direction I want the team to go.
I
As
agree with
opposed to
you,
you
but
have a GM that does whatever they feel they want.
I agree with you, but the Green Bay Packers have been one of the best teams in the NFL for since the NFL has been created. Like they've always had good quarterback. They've always been competitive. They rarely. I don't think I've seen a losing season for the Green Bay Packers since I've started watching football. So to me, they are one of the best organizations ever. And I understand not having an owner doesn't push you enough, but I don't think that's why they. I don't think that's why they haven't. I don't think that's why they haven't win a Super Bowl. I just think some of the decisions they made in games have cost them games. Like if you take for example, they were in the NFC Championship against the Seattle Seahawks. They
Mhm.
let that go. You know what I mean? Against the Bucks last year, they made a couple of dumb decisions to let that go. Like they've always been like one of the best teams. So I just think it's some of the coaching decisions and not drafting a wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers is another problem.
Right, like I
You know
was
what I mean?
saying. Right,
It's part of,
right.
but I just don't think not having an owner is why they haven't made those decisions. It's just they just haven't been coached the best to make to the Super Bowl or win another one.
No, I absolutely agree with that. And they did finally this year draft a receiver, Amari Rogers from Clemson, but they should have taken a receiver a lot sooner and not waited until when they did to draft Amari Rogers. Like, I don't know what they were taking so long to draft a receiver for. Like, that's a clear-cut, glaring need for the Green Bay Packers, just like it was for the Patriots that they needed a quarterback. Like, I don't understand why they didn't draft a receiver or, offensive, playmaker in the first round. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. And I'm going to go in later on the Green Bay Packers as well, and later in the show, so I'm not done with them. But getting
Oh,
to
you're
my
not?
winner.
When are we
No, I
discussing the
won't.
Green Bay Packers
Well, it
again?
has more to do with the Aaron Rodgers situation, but I don't want to talk about too
Oh,
much about the Aaron Rodgers situation because we haven't gotten to that yet. But that's why I'm going to leave the rest for when we get to that point of the podcast. So now getting to my winner of the draft, I think it'd be the New York Jets. I like what the New York Jets
that's
did.
my winner.
Oh man, I guess two great minds think alike, right?
Damn. All right,
All
go
right,
ahead.
that's fine. I know
Go ahead.
I keep doing that to you, John, every
Go ahead.
time, man. But I'll get to why I had them to win. I mean, we all knew
Mhm.
that they were going to take Zach Wilson in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first round.
It's what they did after.
That was a given. But I also liked what they did when they traded up at 14 to get an offensive tackle
Mhm.
that is one of the best offensive tackles in the draft and that can protect the franchise and in their quarterback in Zach Wilson. So that's a great move that they're able to trade with the Vikings to do that. And they certainly did a good job of not only getting their quarterback for the future, but also an offensive tackle that's gonna be there for the future as well and make sure the quarterback is well protected. So, and not only that, but I also like the Elijah Moore pick in the
With the
second round. That
receivers.
was a receiver I wanted the Pats to draft.
Mhm.
And I thought Elijah Moore was even going to go at the end of the first round. I was surprised he fell to the second round. And they, Jets ended up picking him up at the beginning of the second round. So, I definitely liked what, with that pick as well and what the Jets did in the draft this year.
For sure, for sure. No, I like that pick for the winner for sure, man. And that was gonna be my pick. And not only
sorry, I stole yours, John. Sorry,
right.
bro.
No, it's I definitely agree with you. Picking Zach Wilson and then immediately getting back in the draft. They actually traded back into the 14th spot to take the offensive line player, and I thought that was really good. So it looked like, you know, they got the quarterback and then they set him up for success, you know, at the same time. And then after that, they went into the defense and stuff like that. But my loser for the first round has to be a team that wasn't in the first round at all, and that's the Texans.
That's
good.
That's a good one. I like that one, John.
Because
that's a good loser. I think you have the best loser in the draft out of all of us.
That team traded its future for like 10 years.
So,
for real.
They've screwed up. They've screwed up everything so bad. They did not have a first round pick this year. And I don't know what their positions next year is going to be either, because
I'm sure they don't have one next year either. I wouldn't be surprised.
And then they had to pick a quarterback, right? I think something Mills, something like that.
Was that in the second round or the third round?
That was something like either second or third round, man.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I don't remember, but clearly they're bottom feeders, man. And they're definitely the biggest loser. And, you know, with everything that's going on surrounding the team and everything like that, I think they're definitely the clear-cut losers.
That's a bad team.
You know,
bad team, bad organization.
Yeah,
bad organization, bad management, like everything. Bad scouts, like, geez.
Yeah.
That team's a lot. That's the new laughing stock of the NFL right there, the Houston Texans.
Yeah,
an absolute joke.
And
that franchise is.
You know, since Barry took the winner that I picked, I'm gonna pick another one, and that's gonna be the Patriots, man. You know, because I feel like they went in there with a mission, and it was mission accomplished. You know what I'm saying? From Mac Jones, you know, because clearly we needed a quarterback, and then Bill Belichick worked on the defensive line pretty much like the rest of the draft, man. And like, you know, the team is set up for now and the future. You know, so I thought they went in there with a purpose, and it was a year that Bill Belichick actually listened to people and was making the right picks. I thought we should have definitely.
He was listening though, or he was still making the decisions and still doing what he wanted to do? You really sure about that?
I mean, I felt like, you know, he went out for needs, and then he picked some guys that were like really highly ranked. You know, and he went back to what he knows, which is the defense. You know, went back with the defensive line. I thought, you know, he should have picked a receiver, but I think he learned that he sucks at picking wide receivers, so he didn't pick any until like the seventh
take one
round.
If you're not good at that, right?
Like,
you can't
and I'm not mad at that.
Just don't take it, right? Right.
Well, we already knew that he went after receivers in the offseason,
in the free agents,
yes. Mm-hmm. And that's why, because he cannot pick receivers. So I would have been highly upset if he picked a receiver. No.
Well, because most likely they would have turned out to be trash.
Even if it's a good receiver, no.
Yeah.
Even like one of the top receivers in this draft, you still wouldn't have been happy with that.
I still don't trust Bill, but I still don't trust the Patriots to get that receiver in the right spot to succeed.
Right, and that they can develop him.
Honestly, I really don't.
Yeah, man, they need to get some of these scouts from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Belichick needs to get some of them to come over to New England.
Yeah, I love
because those guys know how to develop and pick out wide receiver talent.
Right, you know, tell Bill, send the camera to Pittsburgh and
them cameras are going to the wrong places.
Don't go to the Bengals. Like, what the fuck?
Right. Like, what are they gonna do for you? Like, what do you get out of that? Exactly.
You go to Philly and go to Cincinnati? Like, go to Pittsburgh.
Exactly. Right.
You know,
that's where you need to be.
Send the camera crew over there, man. Find out what they're doing over there, man.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And you know, we'll get into the Patriots draft in a minute, but some more NFL news, man. The NFL schedule is going to be released on May 12th, so that's maybe a couple weeks out now.
Ooh,
So
can't wait. Looking forward to that.
You know, we'll see what teams are facing who's going to see who, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
A name we haven't heard in the NFL for a really long time, and I feel like this news is so stupid because, you know, every analyst was telling this guy, yo, you need to change positions. And he was just so stubborn. He's like, I'm just leaving football altogether if I can't do this. Tim Tebow is, you know, in contact with the Jaguars to sign as a tight end.
What?
The guy hasn't played since 2012.
Well, they worked him out.
Almost 10 years. Wow.
They worked him out as a tight end. I don't know if they're gonna sign him though.
Right, but the fact that you're in, you know, the fact that you're even trying out as a tight end baffles me because you could have did this shit like 10 years ago.
For real. Like too little, too late for that, bro. Like, you know, exactly. Like, where was you at 10 years ago when you were shitting the bed at quarterback and couldn't throw to save your life and couldn't keep a QB job? Like, if you really wanted to be in the NFL and were serious about having a successful career in the NFL, you would have known to change your position then. Like,
yeah, no,
like
he
now
got
you
mad.
want to change your position when you're a lot older and past your prime, and
you're definitely past your prime.
Right.
You know, you
exactly.
got mad and went to play for the Mets, and you never actually got in the damn game. Like,
and didn't even make the big league team. He was on the AAA and AA team. He didn't even make it to the big leagues.
You already made it in the NFL. Now you just wasted like 10 years trying out for baseball, and you never even made it there. So now you're back in the NFL asking for another position, like when everybody was. Anyway, man, enough for
bro, just stick to being a college football analyst honestly. Man. Right. Like, you're doing well with that. Just stay with that, man. Like that's working out for you. If it ain't broke, don't fix it and try to do something else that's not gonna work for you and you're not gonna be good at. Like,
he's trying to get a movie deal. Football. He's trying to get a movie deal. The curious story of Tim Tebow. Like, dude.
That's how he's trying to get back in the NFL.
For real, you know, he probably has a documentary coming out, you know, how Tim Tebow.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
The Bucks re-signed Antonio Brown finally. You know, he's a guy. I think it's amazing, you know, from like 2 years ago to now, how Antonio Brown's story is just like went from like forefront of the league to like he gets signed and nobody's really even talking about it. You know what I mean? Just like last year, the last year he was with the Patriots, media shitstorm, and now it's like Super Bowl champion, re-signed. Nobody's talking about Antonio Brown at all.
Well, you wanted them to be talking about him?
No, I just feel like, you know, how quickly things change. What happened to all that narrative about Antonio Brown?
Well, I think they're still. I think they're still there. I just think that's. I think, and I actually think that's one of the reasons why he probably didn't sign with another team. I mean, if you think about it, $3.5 million for Antonio Brown, it's not a lot of money for a player
as
like
dirt
Antonio Brown. So I think actually those narratives are still there. I think probably for him is some of those things you were accused of. Maybe they got swept under the rug. Maybe he got off some of those charges. You know what I mean? But $3.5 million. I mean, if Antonio Brown was clean, he can get $10 million anywhere.
Oh, easily, absolutely. Yeah. No, for sure. No, this is what I was trying to say to y'all a few weeks ago. That he wasn't gonna go anywhere. He was gonna stay put and go back to Tampa and go back to be with his boy TB12. You know, with the Bucks. Like, you know, that's his man's right there. He wasn't going to leave. So, you know, I knew for sure that, you know, they were going to come to a contract agreement at some point. And, you know, and for sure those, you know, like you said, Vlad, those reasons were pretty much why he didn't get really any contract offers. I thought maybe the Ravens would have given him an offer, but I guess it wasn't good enough for him. And, you know, he didn't want to go there. So I think you know, he definitely went to the right place, you know, where he belongs and where that can, you know, utilize him, you know, the best, you know, in Tampa Bay.
I'm sure he maybe got a better contract than the Tampa Bay one, but I bet you it wasn't that much better for him to not sign back with, you know, the team he won a Super Bowl with and with Tom Brady. Whatever he got probably just was like $5 million, $6 million, and he was just like, you know what, I would have signed with the team I already know. Tom is already here. When y'all want to give me more money, I'll sign somewhere else.
Listen, I thought the Ravens should have moved on Antonio Brown, man. You know, with their receiving situation, bringing in Sammy Watkins. Now, they did draft a guy, but Antonio Brown's already a proven guy. You got his cousin on the team. You know what I'm saying? You got John Harbaugh, who's a. Oh,
that's his cousin?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that either.
Hollywood Brown is his cousin. Marquise Brown is his cousin. Yeah. They literally trained together.
I had no idea, John. I did not know.
Yes.
Wow.
So I posted.
That explains why they drafted him. He must have put in the work for him. Hollywood
Remember
Brown.
the video I posted on Profins_Sports? He was working out with Lamar Jackson. The second guy was Marquise Brown, his cousin. You know what I mean? They were in the same facilities working out together. So I'm like, the Ravens should have made a move because Antonio Brown, he's still a bad man on the field, yo. You know, and
absolutely,
he caught the winning touchdown for the Super Bowl.
Antonio Brown.
Yeah, he got a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Listen, right.
Tom Brady got you a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like you can move on wherever you want. You know what I mean? You're back in the league now. If I don't know, that's just my opinion.
Like I said, I think
they might have not given him a contract. I feel you. You know what I mean?
A good contract.
I think that it would be stupid to not give. Well, no, I shouldn't say stupid. I feel like that's a little strong because Antonio Brown has had some issues, you know. But at the same time, I thought for the team's sake, your quarterback has been working out with this dude for the last 2 years because the year prior, Lamar Jackson was working with him too, you know. And then again this offseason, you still like don't take a flyer, you know what I mean? So, hey, congrats to him, man. He's back on the Super Bowl champs, and I'm sure he's gonna do well again. You know, and maybe this time he does even better because he's going to be in there for 2 years now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I thought another team that could have used him and could have picked him up is Seattle, is the Seahawks as well. I think, you know, they definitely could use another receiver and some more, you know, depth at that position. And, you know, and then a talent like that. So,
yeah. What about the Packers?
Bingo! You hit bingo, John.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
there you go, right?
You got Devontae Adams
on the head right there. That would have definitely made Aaron Rodgers a lot more happier if you had, you know, picked him up and got, you know, signed him to a contract. Like, you know, I don't know why they didn't do that. That's the team that needed Antonio Brown the most, and that should have picked him up, and, you know, and brought him. You know, to Green Bay. Like, I am baffled and blown away that they didn't do that. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like,
sure.
Wow. You hit that right on the money, John.
Teddy Bridgewater was traded to the Broncos for a 6th-round pick. That guy's just being ragdolled around the league. They're not really giving him I like Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know why they keep trading him around and not giving him, like, you know, some time to actually be in the offense and do some things, you know. But
no, I agree.
It sucks he had that injury in Minnesota, man, and you know,
right.
that
set his career so much back. Right.
Yeah,
but I thought he, you know, resurrected it and, you know, and kind of got it back going when he played well with the Saints and went 5-0. I thought, you know, there was a team that was actually going to give him you know, a fair opportunity to be. You know, starting quarterback in the NFL, and unfortunately he hasn't found that. So hopefully, you know, Denver can give him that opportunity and let him, you know, compete for the starting job. And if he does win it, which I'm sure he will, be the starter for some time, give him enough time to actually be the guy there.
Right. If he can't beat Drew Luck for that for that spot, then, you know, he probably.
Then he shouldn't be in the NFL. Exactly.
You shouldn't be a starter if you can't beat out Drew Lock.
That's true.
For that quarterback position, right?
Absolutely.
There.
No, you know, big facts.
And lastly, Aaron Rodgers says that he will not return to the Packers if GM Brian Gutekunst is not fired. So he doesn't want to come back if that guy is not fired, which is kind of wild to me.
Yeah, that was the best news on draft day. Like, I was like,
the biggest,
the best. I was like, what? Like, there about to be some fireworks tonight. I was excited. Like, I was like, yo, trading, anytime you're trading such a high profile athlete, like, that's like big fireworks. So,
oh yeah.
Well, I was reading something yesterday that said that Aaron Rodgers is actually pretty upset that the news got out. He didn't want the news to get out. But I don't know, man. I'm not buying it yet. I mean, I know he said that, but I don't know. I'm not buying him leaving the Green Bay Packers.
Well, he's still under contract, so how can you just leave?
Yeah, but I mean, no. The way you leave is I'm not playing.
Right, and demand the trade, right?
Pull a Carson Palmer?
Well, pull a Deshaun Watson if you want to call it that.
No, don't pull a Deshaun Watson.
Definitely not. Absolutely not. No way.
No,
hell no. Right. Please don't do it. Right. We don't need another quarterback doing that. Right. One's already enough. Oh man.
But yeah.
But before all that,
before the scandal came out,
just say I'm not playing. You know what I mean? So if he says I'm not playing, and they're gonna have to trade him, you know what I mean? So that I'm excited to see what happens with that. I mean, if it really happens that he forces their hands to trade him, that'd be kind of sweet. I can't wait to see what that looks like. Because imagine where he could end up. Like, wherever he ends up automatically becomes a playoff contender.
Would you say even Super Bowl contender or just playoff contender?
No. Playoff at least contender. Playoff.
I said what I said. Playoff contender. Nah, he's not Tom Brady.
Right. Plus, he hasn't done it. He hasn't done it where he's at now, so we can't say that he's.
Well, he's done it once, but that's it.
Well, yeah, one time, but ever since then, it's been, So,
no,
I mean,
for sure. And remember, I told you I wasn't done with the Green Bay Packers, and I told you I wasn't done going in on that team. So with Aaron Rodgers, I completely agree and understand with how he feels and as disgruntled and as frustrated as he's feeling right now, and that he doesn't want to go back to the Green Bay Packers. Like, I wouldn't want to go back either. Like that, that GM is just, he's garbage. He sucks. Like this guy, in 12 years, his best three receivers that he's gotten are Devontae Adams, which is a pretty good receiver. Y'all give him that. But then Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb, and that's it. In 12 years, that's all you've given Aaron Rodgers? Like, are you kidding me? Like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you giving this man more to work with? And why are you treating this man just like another guy on the team? Like, just like any other quarterback, or that he's just a number. Like it's absolutely asinine and absurd that the GM still has a job in the NFL when, if it were a black GM or another GM that had that position that did that same thing, you can't sit here and tell me that they'd still be having a job 12 years after doing that. Like, they would have been long gone years ago. Like, they would have been out of here.
They don't have a team owner.
Right, but they still should have given him more than that, and he still shouldn't be there with the lack of moves and the lack of getting talent for Aaron Rodgers. The fact that they haven't given him anything, I get they don't have an owner, but the bottom line is that guy has to go. And I like Aaron Rodgers saying, I'm not going back there unless if he goes, because it's either him or me. Like, if he's staying there, I'm out of there. If he goes, then I'll come back, because this guy does not deserve to be an NFL GM with as pathetic as he's been with that team and not giving Aaron Rodgers what he deserves and being able to get a second Super Bowl championship. Like he could have had not a dynasty, but they could have had a Super Bowl run had they given Aaron Rodgers more help offensively than what they've given him. He could have at least 2-3 Super Bowls instead of just one, which was 11, 12 years ago? Like, come on, man. Like, Aaron Rodgers, I'm with you, bro. Like, he needs to get out of there and go somewhere where he can win, and that's going to get him the talent that he needs to win a Super Bowl. Like, plain and simple.
Yeah, you know what? You sound like the Patriots sports radio when they wasn't giving Tom Brady the weapons. Like, what do you think? They don't have no weapons. They don't have no weapons. It's like Brady's never had weapons.
I understand where Barry's coming from, and I
do too.
I also think that Aaron Rodgers has his reasons to be mad at the Green Bay Packers, but I honestly don't think offensive weapons is why they haven't won another Super Bowl. I honestly don't think that. I think it's been coaching, to be honest.
Yep.
That's been a factor too.
I think it's been coaching because
they've kicking a field goal down 7.
Yeah, and also
fourth.
They made the NFC Championship so many times. They against the Falcons, against the Seahawks, against
the 49ers,
against the Bucks. That's 4 NFC Championship where
games,
games, and they were playing well in those games, and they could have win those games, and they could have like better.
The 49ers game they got blown out, but the other 3 games I agree they were competitive in that game.
But each of those years they've won like 13, 14 games.
That's why I don't think it's offense, man. I think it's been coaching. I think it's been defense some years as well.
Mm-hmm.
But they've been drafting defense, and what have their defensive players been doing? What have they done? All those defensive players that they've drafted.
I don't know, but I also don't. I agree with you.
Not a damn thing.
I agree with you that the defense haven't been doing anything either, but I also don't like because Aaron Rodgers is so skilled that you don't need to give him top
of the line
talent
offensive players
to succeed. I mean, I'm not saying he wouldn't have helped; it would have helped, but he's just so good that you don't need to give him that. But I think if they gave it to him, maybe they could have made it to at least another Super Bowl. But I also think it's been coaching. Like, it's been poor decisions on the coaching staff sometimes.
Right, Mike McCarthy was trash. I agree. And LaFleur is not having the best start either to his coaching career with the Packers.
Yeah, with letting the Bucks score right before the half.
Yeah, man.
And kicking that field goal.
Right. That's
what I'm saying, man.
Instead of going for it on foot, even though they didn't do anything on the first 3 plays. But come on, you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. Like, you got to put the ball in his hands when the game's on the line and let him make a play.
You know what? Aaron Rodgers should have bossed up in that game like he's trying to boss up now and say, give me the fucking ball. We're going to go. You know what I'm saying? That's what he should have done then. But I guess he's trying to boss up now that, it's the off season and there's nothing you can do about it. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, our special guest that we wanted to have on will not be able to make it in because he's dealing with some stuff right now. But we're gonna go into the Patriots draft. On to the Patriots draft, men. So we saw the Patriots go in the draft. And they immediately addressed, some of their biggest holes on the team, as well as do some other things. So let me give you, the breakdown of the draft picks that we had from round to round. So in round 1, obviously we talked about it already. The Patriots picked Mac Jones, QB out of Alabama. In round 2, they picked another Alabama guy in Christian Barmore. He's a defensive tackle. That's going to come in on the line and try to plug things up there. We got Ronnie Perkins, who's an edge guy from Oklahoma. Ramondre Stevenson, who's a running back from Oklahoma. So he's a big guy, big dude. Cameron McGrone, linebacker out of Michigan. Joshua Bledsoe is a safety out of Missouri. Will Sherman, an offensive tackle out of Colorado. And lastly, Trey Nixon, who's a wide receiver out of UCF in the 7th round. So, the Patriots clearly addressed some needs there. How'd you guys feel about the Patriots draft? More notably, Mac Jones. How you feel about that and the direction of the Patriots?
Like I mentioned earlier in the pod, this was one of the most integral drafts that the Patriots had in a long time, with a lot of weighing on it. I was really excited for the draft because the Patriots was going to decide the future in the draft. And also the anticipation of what Bill Belichick is going to do. Bill Belichick is one of those guys that if he has the first round pick, you still don't know what he's going to do. You know what I mean? Most years, what the first one, like the first pick of the NFL is going to do. And you feel as though Bill Belichick is one of those guys that you never know what he's going to do. He might pick somebody from the gas station down the street. Like, you know what I mean? Like you never know what this guy's going to do. So when the pick was coming, I was like, man, Mac Jones is on the board. Everybody's saying he should pick Mac Jones. I was like, I don't know if Belichick is going to do it. I really don't know if he's going to do it. So when I heard Mac Jones, I was like, wow, he actually did it. He picked the guy that you're supposed to pick at that spot. He picked the quarterback that he actually needs. He did it. Like, there was no playing chess or...
7 seconds. Boom. Pick is in.
Right. He didn't overthink it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
I was really, really satisfied with the pick. I thought that was the right pick, picking Mac Jones, one of the top quarterback left in the first round. I'm not sure if they would have traded up if they needed to. I'm not sure if they just let him fall on their lap. I'm just glad that they picked him. And I'm excited to see what happens. I mean, he has one of the highest completion percentage in college football.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's big to us. Accuracy is really big to us.
One of the most accurate ever.
Yeah. And so I didn't like his walk when he got picked.
I loved it.
This looked like he needed to go to the bathroom right away.
He was walking like Bill Belichick.
I loved it, man.
Nah, he looked like he needed to go to the bathroom or something. I don't know what was going on.
He looked like anything but a football player, man.
Yeah.
For real, right. Like, exactly. You can just look at him and be like, is this dude even a professional athlete? Like, is he, like, in good enough shape? And is he qualified to actually, like, play in the NFL? Like, just looking at him is like...
Walking like the damn principal, man. I'm
right, have you seen a weight room? Like, bro, what was you doing in Alabama? Like, we get you was completing all the passes, but, like, damn, they didn't give you any sort of weight or body training over there?
Yeah, also, the fact that the Patriots didn't have to trade up was impressive as well. They sat exactly where they were and got the pick. I'm glad they got it. I mean, a team maybe could have... I'm sure they did their homework and found out no team was going to pick them before them, but you never know with the draft. Somebody could have surprised you and picked him, right?
I don't know if they knew that.
No, exactly, right.
I don't think they knew that 100%. That's my point. My point is I'm still surprised that they just sat there and didn't move up. But it's good that they didn't, and they got it at that exact spot without wasting. But they must have done the homework and be like, okay, San Francisco is really gonna go with Trey Lance, you know what I mean? Because he's friend with Mike Shanahan, the father of Kyle Shanahan, you know what I mean? So I'm sure he had some, because there's no way you're sitting there, you know what I mean, without like making a move, without knowing a little bit of what you're not 100% sure, because any team could have surprised you, but you must have had some kind of idea that the guy that you wanted might fall in your lap at that position. Besides that, I really like the edge picks, the linebacker pick. To me, if we didn't pick a quarterback in the first round, I would have wanted us to pick defensive players, and I think those are important. We drafted a running back. running backs sometimes succeed, sometimes they don't. So we'll see what happens with that. The rest of the picks, like 5th, 6th, 7th round, we those guys might not even be on the team. If they are on the team, great. But we know they might not be on the team. But I'm happy with the. I mean, he honestly just picking Mac Jones. If we pick Mac Jones and didn't pick anybody else, I would have been happy. Just because you intentionally went after a quarterback and you didn't come out and tell us Cam Newton is going to be the quarterback and we're going to succeed with Cam Newton. You know what I mean? So just getting Mac Jones was actually the draft to me.
Well, he actually did say that Cam Newton is the quarterback.
Yeah, no, I agree. I know he said that, but
if he said that unless if someone plays better than him.
Until
someone does better than him, right?
But if he didn't pick Mac Jones and he said Cam Newton is a quarterback, then you're like, fuck. Like, bro, what are you
who the hell is going to compete with Cam Newton? Right.
But yeah, that's it for me.
Okay. No, I certainly like the Mac Jones pick. I mean, how could you not like that pick? Like, I'm glad that the Patriots addressed a clear-cut, crystal clear need that was on this roster, and what I've been wanting them to do for a while is to get another quarterback that knows how to play the position well and can throw the football accurately, and and that has a good pocket presence, and that can compete for the starting job right away. And I think they certainly got that with this Mac Jones pick. They've certainly gotten a guy that that has the potential to be the next guy for this franchise, and that the next starting quarterback for the New England Patriots. And it was impressive to me, like you said, that the discipline that the Patriots showed in staying and sitting at 15 and not moving an inch, and not even thinking about trading up with anybody, and still being able to get their guy that they've always wanted to, and that and that they were most interested in, pretty much ever since the draft process started, as far as being able to, to take a look at these guys. So I think, that was the guy that Belichick wanted with all along, because remember, that was the only quarterback he showed up to his pro day at. He didn't show up to Justin Fields' pro day. He didn't show up to Trey Lance' pro day. And if you mean to tell me that Belichick is going to draft somebody that he didn't even go watch them play or go even meet with them at all to get, an idea of whether he thinks that person would be a good fit for the team, like, he's not doing that. Like, yeah, he sent the scouts to, go look at him, and then sent Josh McDaniels and stuff, and the other guys to, to go over there, but he himself wasn't there until Mac Jones. I know he wanted to see his boy, Nick Saban, but he still showed up nonetheless. So I'm certainly happy about that pick, and hoping for, big things for Mac Jones, to come up, in the future with the Patriots. We just need to get him in the weight room and put a few more pounds on, and get him in the facility.
Bro. It's all about pliability, bro.
Come on,
even Tom Brady, even my boy has some muscle and come on, I'm rocking the hat. I know about pliability. Like, I you know what I'm saying? I trust me, I'm well aware and what I'm saying, knowledgeable, or at least know enough about it to be I actually know that it can work at the quarterback position, but I just feel that I'd like to see him actually look like a starting quarterback and look like an NFL player a little bit more. I know it worked him for Alabama and stuff, but that's just my preference and what I would think that they need to do. That's the only thing. Other than that, he brings everything to the table that I want a quarterback to bring to the table. And I'm glad we finally actually have a legit quarterback on this team because it was about damn time. Now, getting to the other picks. That D tackle they drafted from Alabama. He's good and all, but I'm just concerned that, they gave up a lot to get him. They gave up 3 picks. 3. A second rounder and I think 2 third rounders to pick him up. Like, that's a lot. That's a hefty price to be paying for a defensive tackle. Like, even though I know he's a first round talent and they were even surprised he even fell that far and could have gone the first round, but that's just, that's a lot of draft capital to, be giving up and investing in, a defensive tackle. So I hope it works out for him. Yeah, no, for sure. That's the only problem that I have with that pick. Other than that, the player, I like. I think, he can definitely help the defensive line and be able to contribute and be in that rotation since they like to rotate a lot of guys on the defensive line. So we'll see how that goes with him. And then the other picks, the Perkins pick, I like, having another guy off the edge. Like I told you, John, on the IG Live, you can never have too many pass rushers and too many guys off the edge. Like, being able to have depth at that position is important. Guys that can, come off the edge and rush the quarterback and, and get sacks is definitely something that's really important on defense and that you need. So I'm glad they addressed that. And then the linebacker from Michigan was certainly a pick that they needed to get because they need to get young guy linebacker because, Hightower's getting up there. We don't know how much longer he's going to be and stuff. So they certainly needed a guy that could, be his, replacement and, after he goes, whenever that is. And the other picks, the running back is solid. They needed another running back because our running backs get hurt a lot. So, we'll see how he does. But, he looks pretty good. And then the rest, we'll see what happens with them because we don't know whether – I think they might just be camp bodies at this point and guys just to, have on the training camp roster. So we'll see what they do and if they can even make the team. But the first few picks I certainly like from the New England Patriots, and I think they had a pretty good draft this year.
Mac Jones, man. I think a while ago, I hate to be like the guy that says, I felt like that's what they were going to do. But like a while ago, I was seeing that the Patriots were talking to him at the Senior Bowl. I had made a little graphic about him and posted it on the page. I'm like, this could be the guy, and
I thought you were gonna say I told you so, John.
I'm not even gonna say that. You know what I'm saying?
I thought that was good. You can say it. I won't feel bad because I'll give you that you've been calling it for a while. You said a long time ago, as soon as the season ended and the Patriots started looking at these draft prospects. So
as soon as I seen we're picking at 15, I said Mac Jones should be the guy at 15. And with the last 2 months with the mock drafts and all that stuff, it didn't look like that was going to be a possibility. And it's amazing that the Patriots just sat there and the perfect guy fell to them, right? Mac Jones, the smartest quarterback in this year's draft, right? And I don't think it's not only just football. Like the guy has a 4.0 in school. You know what I mean?
Smart kid. Yeah.
He's a smart kid. I think one thing we talked about a lot last year is Cam Newton has a problem recognizing a lot of shit. Okay.
Yes, reading defenses. From
the line of scrimmage, reading defenses. You look at Mac Jones, he does not have these issues. He's
a college boy, so I'm not saying
a college boy. But no.
Mac Jones?
Listen, there's when they talk about football IQ, this guy has the football IQ. You know what I'm saying? Like watching his interviews, hearing him talk about the game, breaking down, the formations and why he did certain things. Who he reminded me of? Like not even trying to be funny. Like when he speaks about football, who he reminds me of?
No, who's no idea?
Literally Tom Brady, bro. Like if you go back
Really?
It's not even funny.
Well, no,
Like
they've compared him to Tom Brady.
they have, but like you
I
have to
don't know if that's a
understand
fair
why.
comparison.
Of course, it's not a fair comparison because Tom Brady's the GOAT. But I'm talking about like when it comes to pure football knowledge and why you do certain things on the field. You know, you'll ask him, why did you move there? He's like, well, if I know if I move my feet this way, this guy's gonna move his body that way, and the receiver's gonna come open this way. You know what I'm saying? He's like, so I gave him a little shake just to move him off the spot so my guy can come open. And it's like shit I've heard Tom Brady say for a long time, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've been watching, you know, highlights, quarterback interviews for a long time. You know what I mean? I've seen Cam Newton speak about it. I've seen Jarrett Stidham speak about it. I haven't seen anybody speak to the level that Mac Jones is speaking in. You know what I'm saying? And his background, he's in the film room all the time. You know what I mean? He wasn't a surefire starter. So he's like, look, you know, where I got my reps was the practice. You know what I mean? They wanted me to give the defense a bone. And it's like, no, I'm trying to compete to get the starting job. So I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Leadership, like he has leadership and, you know, his funny body is not the only thing that's similar to Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he just like thinks the game on another level. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do, you know, especially in like mini camps or something. He's a guy,
Yep.
they say he has a photographic memory and, you know.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that. Wow,
Yes.
that's great.
I did hear
John,
that.
keep talking. I'm loving what I'm hearing about this
they
kid.
say-
You're making me fall in love with this pick even more, and I already liked it.
He
Like,
throws with
keep it going, John.
anticipation.
Preach.
He plays with anticipation. And, you know, one thing he says is like, you have to keep your eyes up at all times, right? And all my receivers know at any time they can get the ball. From read 1 to read 5, they know they can get the ball. And look at his highlights. Like, look at how he slides in the pocket. Like,
Yes, pocket presence.
Dude,
Beautiful.
the pocket
Beautiful.
presence is crazy. Like,
Yes,
the
I've
stuff
seen
you see
that.
Tom
I've
Brady
seen
doing,
that.
I know it's college, but the guy looks more polished, you know what I mean, than anything I've seen out of like a rookie quarterback. You know what I mean? Like Patrick Mahomes will tell you he just learned how to read the defense a couple years ago. Mac Jones already knows how to read the defense.
He's known this for years.
He's known this for years, and that's where, like, the guy's not athletic, right? He doesn't look like nothing, right? Tom Brady doesn't look like nothing. You know what separates Tom Brady from everybody else? The brain. You know what I'm saying? He always says, like, my body might not be working as fast as theirs, but my brain works faster than their body.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So a lot of people are saying, you know, he's not a mobile guy. Matt Ryan's not a mobile guy. You know, Matthew Stafford is not a more mobile guy. People don't talk about stuff like that.
When people say that he's not a very mobile guy, or I've also heard people say the league is going more toward mobile quarterbacks or something like that. And I say, let's look at the last Super Bowl winners. And the only one that's really mobile was Russell Wilson.
Patrick Mahomes
as well, obviously. Yeah. But besides that, most of those guys are, you know.
And you mean in the last like 10 years?
Yeah, standing in the pocket like Tom Brady type of quarterback. And mobility, to me, I don't need my quarterback. Honestly, I don't need my quarterback mobile like Lamar Jackson or something.
Right.
I need somebody that just can escape the pocket when need be.
Slide.
Besides that,
slide or move within the pocket to give yourself more time. Right.
Besides that, I just need you to throw an accurate ball and read the defense correctly. If you can do those,
play the quarterback position.
Actually, one of the most important though, make the right decision under pressure. And I think that's what separates.
Bingo. Yeah.
That's what separates Tom Brady from everybody else. That 2-minute drill, that 2-minute pressure doesn't crack Tom Brady.
Look at Mac Jones' tape. He does the same thing. He will stay in there with pressure coming in and still get the ball off, knowing he's about to get hit. You know what I mean? And you see somebody like Cam Newton last year. As soon as he's about to get hit, he's throwing a pick. You know what I'm saying? And,
right.
He knows how to use his every single read, right? He knows. if you've seen the formations in Alabama, like there's guys moving on every single play. There's two guys moving across the line. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Devontae
they do
Smith,
a lot of
Jalen
motioning.
Waddle.
Right.
They do a lot of motioning, and Mac Jones has to be there to actually control that. And people talk about how, well, you know, they had some of the best receivers in the college, whatever.
Oh yeah, I heard that
You
argument
still
too.
need somebody that's good enough to actually utilize those weapons. Like you don't just send it. I
Right.
can't go in there and do what Mac Jones just did. Like the
Right.
guy,
I'm sure the three of us couldn't do that, or
the guy threw.
average Joe couldn't do that.
The guy threw for 41 touchdowns and threw 4 picks. Like that's
unbelievable.
And
Unreal.
he's not facing scrubs either. You're facing the best competition in college football.
Best conference in college football, period. Like the best defenses in college football. Like he's going against a lot of those guys make it to the league.
That's right.
Our high NFL draft picks. Like
no, first round, second
what
round
more
guys.
does he have to prove, and what more does he have to do to show that he's a good quarterback and that he can play in this league? And he has what he brings to the table, that those intangibles, and and just his play overall, his performance can translate into the NFL.
I think Mac Jones is going to surprise some people. I say don't let the look fool you. You know what I mean? Because like the quarterback position, like you can be as athletic as you want, but if you can't think the game, you're Cam Newton.
Facts. Don't judge a book by its cover. Facts.
You can have all the muscles you want. You can be as fast as you want, but if you can't think the game and put guys in the right position, that's going to be a problem. And this is a guy that's able to put guys in the right position, able to make all the throws. He doesn't have all the arm talent, that they keep talking about.
Arm talent's overrated. Don't give me that.
Does Tom Brady have all the arm talent? They keep saying Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback, and Patrick Mahomes has, he's the best thrower of the football. It's like, but Tom Brady's winning the Super Bowls because he has the smarts. You know what I'm saying? So that was definitely my favorite pick. And then Christian Barmore, I know you're talking about how we traded 3 picks for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think any year I would really, really agree with that, except for this year, because our roster is already huge, right? We already had like 76 guys on there. And taking all the picks that we had just wouldn't, it wouldn't do anything for us this year. So we had the luxury to be able to trade some picks.
But there were some picks that could be used to address some things that we didn't address. Like you were saying, we didn't draft some things that we didn't get, like
wide receivers,
a receiver, corner, a kicker, like what even, they got a safety, but there was still some things they didn't get that they could have gotten in the draft with those picks. That's the only my biggest concern with that, and why I didn't really feel as though they should have given up that much draft capital to get that D tackle, even though that was a position of need. But yeah, that's a lot though.
Right. Christian Barmore was also the defensive MVP in the national championship.
Oh yeah, he balled out against Ohio State. I saw that. He
balled out going in there. You know what I'm saying? Like he had the
even before that, he was balling out.
He was, he was a monster in the middle, and I think it wasn't like too steep. It's this year anyway. You know what I mean? I feel like if it was any other year, it's like that's a lot. Even the receiver they got, Trey Nixon out of UCF. Y'all should go watch the tape. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna make a case that he's gonna be a stud or anything like that, but he's a guy that can play. But overall, I think the Patriots did a good job, with the draft this year for sure. And I think they listened to the fan base, for once, for a change.
Finally, about time.
And I think Robert Kraft came out and made his intentions felt like, get this shit right. You know what I mean? And I feel like they're in the right direction.
Yes, I'm glad he had that impact. Yes.
Which brings me to the question with Mac Jones. Who should be the starter at quarterback week 1? You know what I mean? Between Mac Jones and Cam Newton. Or should he be the starter?
I think it should be Mac Jones. I like having like knowing what I'm doing, and especially if I'm sure that this is the quarterback of the future. I would like to see him start. I think most likely Cam Newton will start, and we'll see how that goes. Maybe he has a better year because he's 1 year removed from his injury and he has more weapons now, so maybe he'll play better. But I actually would like to see Mac Jones just come in and step in and get it going, like similar to what not similar actually, but if we look at Justin Herbert last year, how he came in, even though he didn't get the starting job because
Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor had the
Tyrod.
Tyrod Taylor had the starting job until they punctured his lung, but
on purpose. No,
but it. Yeah, I'd like to see him start. That's what I would like to see. I'd like to see him start. But I think most what's gonna happen is they're gonna start Cam Newton, see how he does, and then maybe Mac Jones might come in later.
Who now definitely hear what you're saying, Vlad. And personally, as a Patriots fan and as someone who has, said that they don't want to see, Cam Newton as the starter, I'd like to see Mac Jones, starting, but realistically, knowing how Belichick is and how, he runs, the football team, it would be hard for me, for, unless if he blows them out of the waters and has an unbelievable and impressive training camp in preseason, it would just be hard for me to see Belichick start a rookie quarterback because, he hasn't, really done that, even though he had one for a very long time. But I don't know if he, be able to trust and, and be confident enough to, put a rookie in there week one right away. But I think that he'll certainly, if the team doesn't do well, if the quarterback, doesn't do well, and Cam Newton, if they, he doesn't have a good start to the season, I don't think that he'll be hesitant to put Mac Jones in and have him play in the middle of the season if he sees that, Mac Jones can, do a lot better than Cam Newton. So I think, realistically, Cam will, start the season. Even though I wouldn't be surprised if Mac Jones does, depending on how he does in training camp in the preseason. But I'm certainly rooting for Mac Jones to win that job and to be the starting quarterback. I'm hoping that he does really well and, he can get that, trust and confidence and belief in Belichick and McDaniels and the coaching staff for him, to be the starter of this team. So we'll see how training camp and preseason goes. But, certainly that's how I feel about the quarterback position with the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I think it's a question of who should, or it's either who should or who will, you know what I mean? And I think it's going to be Cam Newton who will be starting, but who should be starting is Mac Jones for sure, and I hope he can actually beat everybody out, first camp out, you know what I'm saying? Because I hope he can pick up the playbook quick enough. He looks like he's a guy that he's a film junkie, so I feel like he can come in here and do it. Throughout the whole draft, everybody kept saying he's the most pro-ready quarterback in the league. So I don't see why he'd come to New England for that to change all of a sudden. All of a sudden he's not ready for, you know what I'm saying? So I think Bill Belichick, he's a man of his word, and Cam Newton's going to be the quarterback, to start off. But I don't think he's going to be able to hold off Mac Jones long enough because that kid, he's just way too accurate. He's just way too smart, regardless of, Cam Newton looking like a statue and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You can't win football games like that. So for sure, I definitely like to see Mac Jones start, but it's probably not going to be what happens the first week. You know what I mean? We'll see what Cam Newton does. If he goes like 13 for 30, in a game to start the season.
He's not gonna throw that many passes though, because
Exactly.
that's not his game. That's not what he
Right.
does. Right. Right.
And it's New England. How long do they want to survive doing that stuff?
Not very long, and they'll have a very short leash and short, you know, a quick hook if he does bad this year, as you know, and doesn't get off to a good start. Like,
Listen,
he won't be in there for too long if he, picks up where he left off from last year. I can tell you that much.
you're getting backup money for a reason. So
Right, facts.
over there,
Mac Jones is making more than him. Can you believe that? Mac Jones is making more money than Cam Newton, a veteran that's been in the league 10 years, going on in his 11th. And yet Mac Jones, a rookie quarterback that just got drafted into the league, is getting more bread than him.
He's getting more money this year.
That tell you something right there.
He's getting more money this year. Cam Newton's a rich guy. He doesn't even need all that stuff. So we'll see what happens.
No, but that's telling to me. That says a lot to me personally.
Mm-hmm. And that's gonna be it for the NFL segment, man. I thought that was a fun segment, breaking down.
Good draft talk, guys. That was awesome.
For sure, man. And good luck to the Patriots. But